is kind of spreading around lately, and we're seeing it in a lot of the younger generations. But we are seeing it also in some of the older people nowadays, too. We're seeing it in people that are 50, 60, 70, and older. And one of the things is there's a lot of people that have not been raised properly. And we are seeing this more and more and more in people. And one of the things that I'm noticing, especially in the recent ways of things, with these people identifying as other genders or loving different creatures and different things like that, is this is just people wanting to be different because they were not accepted for what they were back in the day. And this could be, from young times when they were kids to all sorts of different things. And here's where the problem lies with that is this is terrible parenting. Yes, because one of the greatest examples is, so let me just say there are times where parents expect things of their kids, and the child always feels like their love and their praise is conditional upon them meeting these things that are expected from them. Yes. So when you have something like that where a child growing up only feels like they're going to get praise and love based off of doing what you want all the time, they feel they're not being accepted for who they are. They're being accepted for a bar that they meet that you have set. It's almost like having a boss set expectations of what needs to be done for like a work quota, right? So if you're setting this on a child and a child is being given these like expectations of, oh, you need to do this, you need to reach this to be accepted and loved, they're not being loved for themselves. They don't feel like you love and care about them in a way to where they feel that they're accepted for just being themselves. What's up? How are you? Glad to have you here. So I appreciate you. So when parents set these bars and their children feel like they have to fucking go out there and be this crazy, basically like a robot for what their parents' expectations are, and they don't feel like they can just be themselves and be this child and be who they want to be and everything like that, they're essentially going to rebel. They're going to look for ways to be what they want to be. And so that's why we're starting to see some of this crazy new stuff where they want to be something else because they feel like just being themselves is not enough. So being something different. So, and I'm not trying to push and I'm not trying to slam on anything, okay? But that's why we're seeing this transition to where people are like, oh, well, I feel I'm this. I identify as this. I love these things. And we're starting to see some really crazy things. And the LGBTQ community is starting to gain more and more letters because we're having people that are starting to identify as different because they don't feel comfortable as they are, because their families or other people made them feel that they couldn't be loved for what they were. So they start trying to be something different because they feel if they are something different, maybe they will get that love from a different group. And so we're seeing these people start doing this, and then we're seeing this community happen from these people that are like this, and they all say they love and accept each other. So then now these people have an outlet and a group to go to. So then they feel like they're getting all that love and stuff like that that was not afforded to them by their families and everything else because there was always expectations. They always had to do something to achieve that love, that, you know, appreciation for what they did because it was always they were given a goal. They couldn't just be themselves and feel accepted. So when you live in a life like that, you are going to seek outlets. Now, great example, myself. I had a family that was like this, guys. I had to do things that they wanted me to do to even feel like I was appreciated. I had to cross into all sorts of different electives and different things to feel like I could even remotely have any sort of like respect and love from my family. And if I didn't do these things, I felt like I was a disappointment to them. Now, I didn't go and do the crazy like transitioning and stuff like that, but I did rebel and I did do things that I highly regret now as an adult. And I wish that I had handled it differently. But when you are young, you don't have the capacity to know how to handle certain situations. And the sad thing is when you start fucking up and you start doing bad things to rebel and do these things, one of the things that happens is you have to grow up really, really fast. And um, it's really, really hard to know at times how to go about things. Hello, happy to have you here. I appreciate you being here. Um, this is a very this is going to cross into a lot of dark subjects, guys. So just fair warning. I want to have everybody be warned that this can cross into a lot of dark things because when you cross into the realms of acceptance and things like that, and not feeling like you were accepted, it can cross into dark realms. There are people that get into very dark places. They want to commit suicide because they feel that they're not loved and accepted by people around them. And a lot of people think that suicide is just people giving up and people not wanting to do things. A lot of times it is not. It is because they feel that they are not being accepted by the ones that they love and care about. And that can tear people down to the point where they feel like they shouldn't be around anymore. Now, before any of y'all go into anything about that, no, that is the wrong option. Don't do it. More people care about you than you know. And if you do anything of that nature, you are going to tear down an entire tree of people that you never knew actually cared about you. There are people out there that you have no idea even think about you, but they do and they care. And if you were gone, it would devastate them. So don't do anything drastic like that, please. But just know that it can bring you to that state. And that's why people look for these outlets. That's why people look for these different ways to act and behave and do something crazy because they feel like they have to be different to feel accepted. And this could be all sorts of different destructive behaviors. Some people go into doing drugs, drinking, because they feel that by doing this, it changes them enough to where it puts them into a crowd and they feel like this crowd cares about them. No, 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 no. All that crowd ever will care about if you're slipping into those types of behaviors and everything like that, those types of crowds that accept people that do those sorts of substances like drugs and drinking and stuff like that, and I mean drinking in excess, by the way, um, those are the type of people that that's all they care about too. They don't care about you. They don't. And if you're going and seeking out those types of crowds and those types of people and everything like that to feel like you're accepted and stuff like that, if you died in some horrific way, uh, hello, hello, glad to have you here, barely alive. Um, if you are going to those types of people and everything like that, they are the very types of people that if you died in some horrific way, they might remember you enough to be like, oh man, that sucks. But they're so fucked up in their own head from all the stuff they're doing and everything like that and whatever's going on in their life, they're not going to remember you. Not in a good, positive way. So don't give yourself to those types of thoughts and processes and things like that. If you really want to make it to where, um, I don't even know if that's possible. I don't, I'm not monetized, so I can't receive anything. So I don't know how that's possible. But anyways, um, so my major thing is, you have to find a positive outlet. And so one of the things that I have found for myself even is doing versions of artwork or gaming, singing, things that are of a positive nature that you can they do allow donations, but I have to be able to be monetized, and because my channel is not able to be monetized yet, I cannot receive donations. So, yeah, so that's it's not possible for me to have your donations given to me, guys. So, do not think that there is a possibility of sending me any sort of money or donations. It's not possible. It's not something you can do as of yet. Yeah, I don't make money. I do this for fun. If I ever get to that point and everything like that, then cool. But I don't expect it. I'm only at 100 subscribers. I only have about like 11, 12,000 views in total. I don't know if you guys know, but you have to reach around 1,000 subscribers and about 3 million views before you can even become monetized on a YouTube channel. So that's how that works. So, uh, no, no, and do not ever suggest that on any of my stuff again. But um, so anyways, one of the things is if you go about uh, trying to live life in a way to where you are seeking approval or you are seeking feeling like you are accepted by people, you're never going to feel that way. And it is because you're always going to be seeking that feeling. You're never going to feel like you ever will get there because you're always going to feel like I could do more. I could do this. And it's going to wear you down. And it is going to make you feel like you could never achieve that. And it is a very, very harsh way to exist and be because you never feel like you're enough. And I'm going to share a personal story. Well, not my story, but it is a familial story. So I have a sibling who was originally my sister. They felt that they were not enough. They felt too broken inside. So my sister decided to transition to a man. Yes. And I accepted this. They became a brother to me. And I stayed and I lived with them for a while. But barely alive, I just want to say this right here, right now. I don't know your situation. I may not know you personally, but you are always enough. You are always enough to somebody somewhere out there. And just knowing that you are good enough, that's all that matters. Don't ever let anybody tell you you're not enough. You do what makes you happy. And if you keep doing that, other people are going to see the good in you and see the things that you can do and that you are good at, and they will be the ones that will have your back. They will be the ones supporting you and helping you rise up to the toppest tier of that pedestal to keep you going. So do not ever think that you are not enough, barely alive. You are, and keep pushing at whatever you do because there will be the people that will see that and they will want to support that and they will help you rise instead of trying to bring you down. That's just the truth. That's how it works. Kind of lost my train of thought there. If anybody could remind me what I was speaking on, I got on a little rant there for barely alive. Anybody help me out here? Um, anybody? Anybody? Um, so, oh yes, thank you. Yes, my brother. So, um, I actually saw them reach a really dark place. Um, So one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that people that go through transition process and stuff like that, such as my sibling and everything like that, When my sister started taking the testosterone supplements and started using the blockers for the estrogen in their body and everything like that, it started really messing with them inside. And here's why. A lot of people don't realize that when you undergo these transitions and everything like that, and you feel like you have to be something different, it messes with your mind. Because when you start changing what your hormones are in your body, it messes with you mentally. Because, so in the example, like if I was to do so, right? If I started taking blockers and I wasn't allowing my testosterone to go up to a height and then I started taking estrogen, it would mess with me because I would be more emotional. Yes, I would start feeling things a little more because women are a little bit more emotional. The men having testosterone, we are more reactional. We're a little quicker to anger, we're more reactionary. That's just how men are because of the testosterone. Now, whereas women are more of the emotional side, they feel those things a little bit more. So when you have these things get affected from one to the other and they start switching and taking blockers and stuff, it really messes with people. And I saw my sister go through this when they started transitioning and swapping to being a male. Because what happened is they started experiencing the rage, the anger that putting testosterone into your body can cause. And so there were times where we would get in fights over the simplest of dumbest of shit because they couldn't control it yet. They hadn't learned how to deal with having that in their body because it's not what they were used to. Being naturally female, they were used to the estrogen and feeling emotions on a different matter. So when they started blocking that and then they started going into the testosterone regimens, which by the way, this was injection into their thigh. That's how they were doing it. They would get angry and they would just have these little bouts of rage over the dumbest of things. I remember one time we got in an argument over a stupid video game. And I was like, what the hell are you even mad about? And of course, being a guy, I got someone yelling at me. I get angry, right? It's how it works. And I remember that day, it was kind of a dark day because they excused themselves after kind of an initial blow up and we both kind of yelled at each other. They excused themselves and they went to the bathroom, which where we were staying was really small, so that was kind of like the only place you could have any privacy, right? And I remember they were in there for a really long time. And I was staying with them and their fiance at the time. And I remember I asked the fiance, I was like, hey, do you think they're all right? Haven't seen him in a little while. We knocked on the door to the bathroom, didn't hear a response. So we knew a way to pop the door lock if we had to. Because sometimes the cats had figured out how to lock the door, by the way. So sometimes if the cats were in there and stuff like that, they would accidentally pop the lock. So we'd have to pop it open to get them out, of course. Well, we popped the lock and found them in the bathtub. They had taken a knife to their stomach and they had carved, I don't remember what the words were anymore, but they had cut into their stomach enough to where later on it scarred. It is now a permanent scar in their stomach. And I'm not trying to get dark and I'm not trying to get like super crazy on this. I'm just showing how far and how bad it can get if you don't accept yourself. If you feel you have to be something else and you start doing this stuff to you, because it can really, really mess with you and it can take you to where you do some crazy things to yourself. And you're not proving anything to anyone if you're hurting yourself, guys. You're not. All you're doing is you're making yourself feel worse because you're hurting yourself. And you can say all you want, and I know some people will say that doing that stuff to themselves makes them feel better. They feel a numbness, they feel all this stuff. You can lie to yourself all you want. If that's what you want, go ahead. But it's not helping you. It's not. You are hurting yourself. And you know this. Everybody in their mind knows this to be true. You're not doing anything good for yourself. You're just hurting yourself. And so, please, guys, do not do these extremes just because you feel that you have to. Now, um, I don't know. I'm running out of things to discuss. I feel I've said my gamut here, but just know, guys, that I am here for anybody that ever needs to talk. And whether you want to throw a comment on one of my videos and I respond to you there, or if you want to use YouTube messaging, whatever, I will talk to you because I genuinely know what it is like to be in these dark places. Because being someone that has experienced a lot of crap and a lot of trauma in my past, as well as just knowing that in the past I felt like I wasn't enough because my family always expected more and more and more from me. I always had to be like this performing arts major. I did so many things, guys. I don't know if I've ever talked about this. Just in high school alone, I did concert band, jazz band, marching band. I performed in theatrical arts for 3 out of my 4 years. I went to advanced theater. I did broadcasting. I did photography. I did choir on the audition level for the Brio choir. I was kind of all over the place, and it was expected of me. Why? They wanted me to go into film. And they figured that by me doing that whole gambit, that I would be able to because I would have the skills. And so, and I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy them and that I didn't have fun, but I didn't have a whole lot of time to myself. You know, when you're in those types of things, you have to memorize everything. Yes? Because when you're in that stuff, you have to memorize your music. If you're in theater, you have to memorize your lines. When you're in broadcasting, you have to learn and memorize exactly how to take the steps to edit and cut and splice video, as well as add all of the different music and other things like that to the different parts of the video. So it can be very demanding. And I didn't have a lot of time because I had to sit here and memorize all this crap all the time and make sure that I retained it. I did so much more than so many other students ever did. And I had to sit here and memorize all this stuff. And it would be one thing if it was just the music and all that stuff. But I had the lines for theater. I had to know all my spacing and where to move and everything like that. And then on top of that, I had my marching stuff. So I had to not only know where I had to move and everything like that, but I had to be able to do this in time with everybody else and stuff like that. It's very demanding, guys. And so I always felt like I had to be at the top of my game. And I felt that I had to do this to make my family happy with me. And, you know, even when I was doing that, I never felt like it was enough. I got to the point where I felt I wasn't doing enough for their approval. So I started seeking more. I started trying to win awards, get different things for myself. And I did. I did. But it's still just, I always had that thing in the back of my mind. Could I do more? Could I be more? Could I do even better? And you know what's funny is these were thoughts that were getting built in my mind because I felt like I wasn't enough for them. So I started thinking in my mind, how could I be enough for them? And when I was achieving things, I still felt like I had to do more. And I never was happy because I always felt like I had to do more for them. I felt like I had to have their approval. And here's the thing, guys, is if you have people that make you feel that way, they don't really care about you. They don't. No, what they care about is their own status. They care about how you make them look. Because what's one thing that somebody cares about status wants? They want everybody under them to have something. They want everybody under them to show some side of being success, because that pushes their success, right? Because now they have all these people that can follow under them. And so it's a sad way to live. It's a very dark place to be. So, anyways, so guys, I'm gonna kill this here. I'm gonna do another live stream here shortly. I want to discuss some upcoming games and things like that. I want to talk about some stuff, and I want to kind of get some insight, because I had said that if I had reached 100 subscribers that I would do GTA 6. And that very well may still be the thing, but I really want to discuss on the other subjects of things like Blood of Dawn Walker, things like that, maybe even Marvel's Wolverine, because I would like to jump on some stuff sooner. I don't know, we'll see. But anyways, guys, I love y'all. Take care of yourselves, please. And just know that someone out there does care. Someone out there really does want you to succeed. There are good people out there, guys. There are. It might be, it seems like a lot less because we keep hearing about all the bad that's going on recently. But there is a lot of good people. And there is a pushback with those good people. And we're gonna start seeing things change, guys. We're already starting to. Just know that. And know that those people will help you fight to the top. So, love y'all. I care about y'all. Take care of yourselves. I will be on another live stream here in maximum of 15-20 minutes. So, I love y'all. Take care of yourselves. Jack the Stripper out.